Good evening, everyone. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, May 11th, 2023, 6 p.m. I'd like to invite Danny Lance from True Life Church, pastor, if he'll come forward, provide us with the invocation, and lead us in our pledge, if everyone will stand.
Our Heavenly Father, we are so very grateful for all of the good things in our life. Your word tells us every good thing comes from you. So we pause to acknowledge the good things, and those good things include our city and our community, our leaders, Lord, that you have gifted to us. And I pray tonight for wisdom for them. I pray, Lord, that you would give them direction. I pray that they would act with compassion, but to make good, solid decisions, Lord, that are led by you. And I just thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to come before you and to lead for each of these men and women. And I just pray, Lord, your blessings on them, your comfort for them, your guidance for them, your protection for them and their families. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Here. Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Tyler.
Here.
Councilmember Witt. Here. City Manager Miller.
Here.
City Attorney Litchfield.
Here. All right, the first item on the agenda is our Employee Milestone Awards for April 2023. We have one employee, Ronald Kitchens. It's his 5-year milestone award. As I mentioned always, we appreciate our employees and their longevity working with the city. If it wasn't for them, the city wouldn't be what they are. So we appreciate that. We like recognizing them. We'll present him with a check, a pen, and an award. So we appreciate that. The next item is a presentation of no donation to the Friends of East Ridge Animal Shelter. Chief Elsa?
Mayor, Council, each November, each April, officers in the police department, we identify a worthy charity, and each officer wishing to grow a beard donates $25 towards that charity, or worthy cause anyway. This year we had $575 for this April, $575 for Friends of East Ridge Animal Shelter.
Awesome. We need to get a picture?
Yes.
Yeah, if y'all come back up, let's get a picture.
With me?
Unfortunately,
Wait. Get in the smile.
yes, smile. Awesome, thank you.
Mayor.
The next item, we'll have a special proclamation. There was a special event that occurred a few weeks ago on the 29th. It was the 50th year celebration of our library. As you know, I talk a lot about the library, appreciate everything they do. They're a great asset to the city and the citizens and our community. It was a great event. They had a carnival type event, petting zoo, hot dogs, snow cones. I mean, it was crowded too. We wanted to do something special and have a proclamation recognizing their 50th anniversary. So, Council, if you'll come down front, Ms. Weaver, if you'll come up. So we wanted to give you this proclamation from the city council. So I'll read it and then we'll present it to you. And again, thank you for all that you do and the library does for our city. So this is a City of East Ridge proclamation, East Ridge City Library 50th anniversary. Whereas in January 1972, the library board was formed for the purpose of establishing a library in East Ridge with Paul Starn serving as a chairman. And whereas under the supervision of Commissioner Hendrick Witt, the library secured $6,000 loan in order to purchase books, shelving and office equipment, and other things. And whereas the assembly room over the Old Town Hall was converted into the new East Ridge City Library, officially opened in March 1973 with 1,550 books in that year and issuing 645 membership cards. And whereas in October 1985, the library moved to the ground floor of the Old Town Hall, and in 1990, the library moved to the 4,900 square foot space in the new City Hall that we have today. Whereas Margie Bumgardner was the first head librarian, and Ann Pruitt later served in that capacity until retirement in 2001. Susan McGrellis serving as head librarian until her passing in 2015, and Dan Power served until 2017. And whereas Patty Weaver joined the library staff in a part-time position in August 1996, later becoming head librarian in 2017 and serving in the capacity today. So whereas today the library consists of much more than checking out books, with programs such as Senior Bingo, Children's Story Time, a book club for adults, a teen advisory board, movie night, and much, much more. So therefore, we declare March 1st, 2023 as East Ridge Library Day.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The next item is the approval of the minutes of April 27, 2023 council meeting. So I assume everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes, and I'll entertain a motion for those.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from April 27th, 2023.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Whitt. Do we have any discussion or corrections? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Next item is communication of citizens. This is an opportunity for residents and citizens to come forward and address the council with any questions, concerns, accolades. We have one that signed in, Mike Trotter. Yes, if you'll come forward, give us your name and your address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes.
My name is Mike Trotter, Trotter. I'm on 3315 Gleason Circle here in East Ridge. And
I think it was on. Is it not on?
did I do it again? No? Okay. You want me to start over?
Yes, please.
My name is Mike Trotter, Trotter. My address is 3315 Gleason Circle here in East Ridge. And I've called the City Hall here a couple of times about this situation. The lady in the office here told me I speak to the commission, maybe the commission could advise about this.
Okay.
I live on Gleason Circle. I live right behind, our neighborhood is right behind Action Church on Germantown Road. I learned about 7 or 8 weeks ago that the Action Church is interested in building a road from Gleason Circle up to their church parking lot. And they are also interested in constructing a parking lot next to my property, next to my ground. There's a creek, a branch that runs between my house and the Action Church. And my property doesn't go all the way to the creek. The church owns part of the property beyond the creek on my side of the creek. And they are interested in constructing a parking lot close to my house. And they're interested in constructing a road from Gleason Circle, running a tile, I guess they meant a bridge across the creek there up to their church parking lot. Of course, my neighbors, we have concerns about this. This is going to devalue my property if they do something like this. And my question is, the lady in the office says they have not filed for any applications to do work like this. And what they're doing, they're expanding the back of their church now. And they cleared off all those trees. It's desolate looking up there on their church parking lot now. And they want to clear off the ground that's close to my property. And it's a ecosystem for animals, plants, life form. But trees been there for a long time. It's a forest, wooded area, and they want to clear all this off. That's going to make that desolate looking. And they want to construct a parking lot right next to my house there. I've talked to some other neighbors about this. We are not in favor of this. One was kind of so-so. Well, he didn't know about it just yet. But we have concerns about this. It's going to devalue our property. My question is, maybe the commission can advise about this. Are there not zoning laws that would prevent them from constructing a parking lot so close to somebody's house like this? I mean,
They have to abide by any setback requirements as noted in the code. This is the first I've heard of this, so I would strongly suggest that you get with Mike Howell, who is the chief building official, and I'm going to get with him tomorrow to find out, because I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I haven't heard
Well,
anything
they've not,
about it either.
apparently, the lady said they have not filed for any applications, and they may not do this. They were going to do something like 30 or 40 years ago. My mother owned the property. The house belongs to me now, but my mother got on them back. They stopped it. It was a different church back then. They were doing this, construct a road from Gleason Circle up to their church parking lot. And obviously, that would devalue my property if it's, I could put up a fence or something, I suppose, but they're going to cut down all these trees down there. So make that desolate. Look, it's an ecosystem, plants, animals, life forms, and their church is expanding. They want more parking space, and they're interested in constructing a parking lot by my house there. And my house, their property runs about 30 feet to the creek or so, and my property line goes about 30 feet to this line. And parking lot right by my house there, that would devalue my property, my way of thinking. Although I don't have any plans to move anyway soon, but
Well, I, as part of the council, is not aware of any of that. I do know that I have spoken with the pastor in the past, and they're looking at another church because of outgrown that one. So I'm not saying they will get another church, but I know he is looking at a possibility of moving that church to somewhere else. But I don't know about, in the meantime, of any construction of a road and or a parking lot. But to Mr. Miller's point, he'll check into it, but if you want to reach out to you can call or come here and talk to Michael Howe. He can give you the actual ordinance requirements and tell you what they can or can't do.
well, if we were talking maybe getting a petition or something that might help persuade them not to, do this if they decide to do it. Is that something we could do? Get a petition or something going? We've discussed this in my neighborhood. Would that help? Get up a petition or have them sign a paper or something?
Unfortunately, if you can do a petition, you certainly have a right to do that.
Right.
However, if they're abiding by the terms of the code as far as the setbacks and so forth, we can't stop them as long as they're following the provisions of the city code as far as site development and building is concerned. I'm a little concerned to just say that you're going to build a bridge over a creek because you need to get TDEC
Yeah, that's
approval on
Special
that, and
permit.
that's not easy to do, really. So I'm going to have to look into it to check with the building official
This
to find
guy,
out what's going on.
about 8 weeks ago, a surveyor's been down on my ground. The lady that lives up the street says the surveyor's back again the other day. I checked their property lines close to my house, and they had plans to build a parking lot, and I talked it was about 8 weeks ago that surveyor was out there, and I talked to him. He said they're expanding their building. They were going to make their building larger, and that was about a few days later. The man's up on their church parking lot, and I went there and talked to him about this. I said, what was going on up here? He told me basically what I've just explained to you here now, and then he put me on the phone with his assistant pastor, Ed Killian. He said the same thing. They were interested in building a parking lot and building a road across the little creek there up to their church parking lot. You know, it's gonna make a noise in our neighborhood. And, he said, but they would get input from the neighbors before they would do anything like this. And, basically, you know, obviously we have concerns about this, and,
Mr. Trotter, let us talk to
oh,
Mr. Howell and find out what the code says.
Okay.
And then
I have
we
no
can,
idea
we can
about
get the information to you.
let me say one more thing. This, the guy I talked to in the parking lot said they were interested in filling in the creek down there. And I said, well, sir, you can't do this. This creek, I've been told, begins up on Missionary Ridge, and it drains the whole area around here. You can't fill in this
They
creek
can't,
like
they,
that.
No,
they,
that-
they cannot fill in that creek. They cannot do
Cannot
that.
fill it in. They can't put a bridge over it without getting special permitting, so that's not easy to do, so. But we can find out about the parking and any additional building by talking with what the code will allow currently, and, you know, we can even reach out to the pastor and see if there's, what their plans are.
Should I speak to Mr. Howell, call and talk to him and later? or-
Yes.
Okay.
Michael Howell.
Okay, that's about all I have to say. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm gonna leave now. I got work to do at my house before it gets dark, so I appreciate your
Thank
help
you.
with this. Thank you.
Have a good evening. All right, that's all we have that's listed, that's actually signed in. If there's anyone else in the audience who'd like to come forward, now's your opportunity. Yes, ma'am. If you'll give us your name and your address.
You know my name, but I'll say it.
Got to have it for the record.
My name is Samantha Rajapakse. That's Samantha. Last name Rajapakse.
Got that, Miss Middleton?
Raj is in jam, AP is in Paul, AK is in kite, SE. I live at 3221 Westonia Drive. That's East Ridge 37412. I'm a little nervous, so you know. Okay. I have a question or a suggestion. I've been trying to consider, I love East Ridge, first of all. I love the community, I love the growth, and unfortunately, we bought a house during the pandemic, and, you know, I experienced a big setback. But it made me and a lot of other people think about homes. And a lot of people lost their homes during the pandemic because they couldn't afford it or they lost their jobs and stuff. So I've been looking at tiny home communities. And I know a lot of people get a little iffy about that because you don't know what type of people that you're bringing in when you're doing tiny homes. Well, a lot of people downsize and they start getting homes and converting buses and all of that. Well, that sounds good. Well, you know, I'm getting a little older. I know it may be a shock to y'all, but it's reality to me. I'm getting a little older, and my daughter wants to move here. I want to live near them, but I don't want to live near them. So we don't have a tiny home community. And I was wondering, could East Ridge, you know, think of that? Because there's a lot of people that are professionals that are leaving the traditional and they're going to other avenues, but they're still maintaining that home-like setting. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people became homeless because of that. So I was just thinking, you know, I didn't want to just buy something and park it in Camp Jordan and call it home. I think that'll be kind of rude. But I was thinking, is there a way that we can kind of restructure the codes, you know, not just let somebody put a shed on a place and stuff, but I mean, make it a home, you know, something presentable or something like that. Or is there any way we can do something for that?
Well, I believe the code doesn't allow that at this point, but, you know, if this council is willing to entertain an ordinance or an adjustment like that, it's something we could definitely talk about, do a workshop on. Any comment, council, or?
Are you talking about like a tiny home village or?
Well, I'm not going that far. I mean, because you have to, when you're talking about a village, that's basically creating a new zone. You know, it could be creating a new zip code. You got to look at what kind of codes, because it's going to if they're doing it like off the grid, that's different. But if they're trying to actually make it a community, then that's going to take plumbing and electrical and all of that. So that's a lot of consideration. I mean, but for those who have property, like I wouldn't call my home a shed. I call it a mother-in-law wing, because or something like that. But I still would want it to be of code. I wouldn't want it to just have somebody to just throw something together and then, I would like to get a permit. I would like to have everything go by code, because it is somewhere you're going to be living. It's going to be a home. It may not be a big home, but it's still going to be a home.
One of the things that first comes to mind is this is an older community, so you have a lot of homes that are already established. So you're going to have, if you have a tiny home that's brought in next to you or something, they're going to consider it possibly devaluing the value of their home. So that's going to be some of the consideration, probably some of the feedback we're going to hear from other
But
people.
what if I have it on
So-
my property? But I'm not talking
Adjacent to someone else's
Yeah.
property. So just like Mr. Trotter was up here, he feels like what's going on next to him is devaluing his property. So I'm not saying no. I'm saying we the council's desire to move forward on this. At some point in time, we definitely can discuss it. And
Well, how would I get the feedback, if you don't mind me asking? Like, could I call somebody and get feedback? Or can we set up some, like a workshop, and get some kind of information on, if we choose, if it could be, able to move forward?
we could, but let's we'll get the consensus. Do you want to get a consensus from the council if they want to proceed with this, and then we can then decide?
I think what you're looking at is a classic tiny home, because any home that you build of small, you've got to have the necessities as far as plumbing, electrical, heat, electricity. So you've got to have all that, and that could get costly when you're talking about a tiny home.
I
Those
understand.
amenities you have to have those amenities to live in a house.
I understand,
be-
but a lot of tiny homes are going solar. They're not going. They're going more non-traditional as we speak. Like, a lot of people are converting, and they're putting their what they call a fresh water, a gray water, a dark water. But it's more into that. And if it's possible, I would like to sit and give you what I have learned from it, to give you a better understanding. Because when somebody came to me with a tiny home, I'm not gonna lie, I thought of a shed. I really did. And then I had to research, and I thought of all the things. I thought about what type of elements when you talk about tiny homes and all of that. And I'm seeing that. In fact, one of my friends is a very high professional person, and she left her home and got a tiny home. In fact, she's constructing it as a container home. Now, to me, that's far, because you're putting a lot of money into that, but it's more feasible. And besides, a lot of people right now cannot afford, East Ridge has held its value in homes. And I'm very impressed by that, especially during the pandemic. But a lot of people, that pandemic put fear into people, because now they're looking at when the country shut down, it brought a lot of reality to a lot of people. So, I mean, I'm just asking to be considered. I'm not asking
If
for
you
no
want to
vote
send
tonight.
me the facts and the information that you've come up with, but there's other considerations, like I said, of, is there particular areas of the city? Is it all the city? There's going to be some people that have $300,000-$400,000 home that may not want a tiny home. So you're probably going to have some opposition, but I don't have a problem looking
At
at the information that you're wanting to send us, and I'm sure that every council member would be willing to do that as well.
Okay, that's all I was asking. Well,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and y'all have a nice night.
You too. All right, is there anyone else? I don't see anyone else, so we will move to communication from council members. I will start on this side. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank Mr. Miller for handling the Pondexter Road up there. We all got a letter about it today. Okay, and I have another request, is Beulah Road down there where Beulah comes off of Frawley up to,
Yeah.
over the hill down to Eads. Lady called complaining about when there's two cars coming up through there, one of you gonna get scratched by the rope, the bushes hanging over. I'd like to see if we couldn't get those cut.
Is that on Beulah or on Frawley?
It's on Beulah.
Got it.
Actually, it's back there probably about where, on the Eads end of it, where it comes around the curve, comes up the hill where, who is it, piece of property that just sold up there.
Is that 13 acres?
Yes, sir. That's, yeah. But anyway, and then,
There's a proposed subdivision that looking in that.
yeah, I know, but there's a fence there
I know
too, and
where
all
you
the
are.
brush is hanging out in the road.
Got it.
And then down there on Frawley Road where the bird sanctuary fence is, this is a ongoing complaint we get every year, or I get every year from people down there. They use that next to the fence there as a garbage dump, okay? And now the grass is growing taller than the road down there, so they like to get that cut there also.
Where's
So,
that now?
There on, Frawley, where the bird sanctuary fence is, I can't remember the name of the street that comes off the hill down there, but well, it's
Okay.
right there where Mr. Turner used to live, across the street from me. Turner, yeah. And one other thing, I'd like to thank Ms. Shauna for taking care of the water fountain deal at the Pioneer Playground. Well, Byron, but you the instigator. That's it for me.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor Haynes?
I'd just like to wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day this coming Sunday. Especially my mother, Louise Young.
Awesome. Councilmember Witt?
I don't have anything.
Councilmember Tyler?
I, on Monday, got to attend as a member of the alumni of the East Ridge Citizens Police Academy. I got their graduation dinner. We had a new graduating class, and I want to continue to push that all East Ridge citizens to sign up. It's one of the most informative and good times you're going to have, and I think it's a project that Chief Usselton's put forth that is just one of the best outreach programs we have in the city. Everyone who's gone through it has had a great time, has learned more about how the police department works here, and they get to see how their money is being spent up close. So I had a good time. Thanks again to Chief Usselton and the police department for all they do.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I have a few things as usual. So, hope everyone got a chance to go to the Bacon Festival. If not, you missed an amazing festival. I was there, I partake. It was good. That was the 6th and the 7th. They had over 150 vendors, a lot of activities, petting zoo, pony rides, all kind of things. Great entertainment as well. I understand that they're now adjusted the schedule, and where Taco Festival was going to be in September, now Bacon Festival is going to reappear for twice this year, and then the Taco Festival will become closer to Cinco de Mayo. So we'll have 2 Bacon Festivals this year in our.
No, I think she's still doing Taco in September.
She is doing.
Flipping it in 24.
I thought she was flipping it this year. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, 'cause she just did the bacon, because I just did the contract. She already has the
Okay.
contract with Taco.
That may be wrong. Okay. I just remember seeing that it was changed, so you think that's 24, not 23. Okay. Well, thanks for I got that wrong, so thanks for correcting me. Then upcoming, we have an East Ridge Community Center game time program has launched, and that's still going on Tuesday to Thursday from 11 to 2:30. And then being scam-aware, East Ridge Parks and Rec and East Ridge Police Department invite all citizens to an important presentation concerning a growing problem on the 12th, Friday, May 12th, which is tomorrow, correct, Chief? Assistant Chief Josh Krill will be speaking on how to be scam smart, knowing when you're being scammed and what to do if it happens to you. The presentation will be at the community center, like I said, on 12th at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Speaking of Mother's Day, we do wish everyone a Mother's Day, but I also want to mention that on Sunday the 14th, which is Mother's Day, there'll be the Mother's Day Tea Party at the East Ridge Community Center from 1 to 3. I think there's still there's a very few, so you got to hurry and get in if you want to be there. But you need to register. It is free. They just ask for a canned food donation, celebrating the wonderful moms in our lives. And you can reach out to Community Center at 423-486-2034 or Hannah Spear at hspear@eastridgetn.gov. Thrill Field, they're setting up, aren't they?
They opened at 5 today.
They already open. Yep. That's right, it is 11th, 5 o'clock today, Mondays through Fridays, 5 to 10, Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 11. If you didn't go, you need to go. It's an amazing festival, carnival, state fair, what do you call it? It's huge, it's great. And then I wanted to go ahead and mention, this is a little bit further out in the future, but East Ridge Cleanup Day, the City of East Ridge and East Ridge Council of the Chamber of Commerce is partnering to host this event. It's the 24th, Saturday, June the 24th, 7 a.m. to 12:30. Cleanup Day involved East Ridge City staff, chamber members, and volunteers working together to clean up trash and litter, remove rubbish, and do some minor lawn maintenance and repair. So I believe we're also taking volunteers.
Yeah, Cameron has it on the city's website
City-
with the QR code for people to
Yep.
sign up and volunteer.
On the city website, as she said, with a QR code if you want to volunteer. I think that's all that I have, so I'll hand it over to City Manager Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. Public Works Week is actually May 21st and May 27th. So we want to congratulate and wish all of our workers from the streets and refuse and building and traffic control departments a happy Public Works Week. Ringgold Road, this keeps going and going and going. The work on the north side of Ringgold Road is progressing, along with Tally, working that portion between Dover and Belvoir. They're working that portion at the present time. Chattanooga Gas is working on the portion north Ringgold Road between Weldon and Cemetery. They should be completed with a replacement line between Weldon just east of Cemetery on May 16th, next Tuesday. And then they'll be moving along, heading to the east. Their entire work to McBrien Road will take another 6 months to get done. When Chattanooga Gas is completed with that section that they'll be done with next week, then Tally Construction will move in and start the installation of the storm sewers, and then on top of the storm sewers will be the sidewalks. WWTA is scheduled to bring their camera truck in next next Wednesday and Thursday, start TVing the sewer lines in that area of McBrien. Then they plan on bringing in their drilling rig to replace and repair some of the sewer lines in that area of McBrien going west. In order to perform this work, unfortunately, they're going to have to close the outside lane of Ringgold Road between McBrien and Dover. That road will be closed, that lane, outside lane, will be closed to traffic. That means that the whole outside lane from McBrien to Weldon, going westbound, is going to be closed for the entirety or balance of this project. You got Chattanooga working the eastern end, or Chattanooga Gas, the eastern end, and Tally working the western end right now. The project is proposed to be completed an outside date at the latest, June of 2024. It's a year from now. So we're hoping that we can get it done a lot quicker. I will say that Chattanooga Gas has really expedited their efforts between Weldon and Belvoir and have worked very well ahead of schedule, so we are hoping that they will continue to do that. Their work has to be done first before Tally Construction moves in to put in the storm sewer lines, 18 and 21-inch lines, and then the sidewalks. So that takes care of Ringgold Road. And good news is Chattanooga Deck Builders, they started work on May 1st. I got some pictures this afternoon. They're working on the pier and the boardwalk, and hopefully they will be completed around June 1st for this project. And we're hoping that if that happens, we've got the rodeo coming up by the Kiwanis Club. I believe that's June 10th.
Optimus.
Sorry. Wow. Optimus Club.
Thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm thinking about tomorrow. Optimus Club has their fishing rodeo, is it June 10th, Saturday? So we're going to have a groundbreaking, a ribbon cutting ceremony for the boardwalk and the pier, and then we'll get into the rodeo.
I recommend a city manager dunking.
After that, goof up, yeah, I can't disagree with you. That's all I have, Mayor.
So, on the road, Ringo Road,
Yes.
with them working in two different directions, will there be an opportunity that we'll be able to free up some of that in stages like we did the other side?
If we can, we will, but I don't see that happening the way they're
Way they're
working
going,
right now.
yeah.
We've got 3 entities in there now. We've got the WWTA, Hamilton County, on the sewer lines. We have Chattanooga Gas. We have EPB is just about completed with their work. They do have to take down 1 additional pole. And then, of course, Tally's behind construction on that.
Just everyone be patient.
Not what I want to hear either, but
Yep.
if we have an opportunity to do that, we will.
The upgrades to the stormwater is very worth the inconvenience for a bit. So we ask everyone to be patient. Thank you, sir. All right, we do not have any old business, so we'll move to new business. Item A, resolution number 3388.
A resolution of the City Council for the City of East Ridge to waive the fee for the use of Camp Jordan Arena by East Ridge Elementary School for their 5th grade graduation.
Ms. Cowles?
Yes, hello, Mayor and Council. East Ridge Elementary has requested use of Camp Jordan Arena on Tuesday, May 23rd for their 5th grade graduation. The event will be from 12:30 to 3:30. Staff does recommend waiving the fees of the arena in support of the elementary school. This will be on the tail end of Thrillville moving out. So the elementary school will actually come down that Monday and Tuesday to help us set all of this up because, again, Thrillville will start to move out Sunday night into Monday and have most of the parking lot already cleared for them in order for us to host this event for them.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3388.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 3388.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Whitt. Do we have any discussion? See none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Yes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3388 passed. We'll move to item B, resolution number 3389.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council to waive the fee for use of Dickert Pond at Camp Jordan by the East Ridge Optimus Club for a fishing rodeo.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mayor and Council. The East Ridge Optimus Club, a 501c4, is that correct? Did I get it right? Yes. Has requested the use of Dickert Pond at Camp Jordan to host their annual fishing rodeo for kids. The event will be from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on June 10th, 2023. David Tyler, a representative of the East Ridge Optimus Club, is asking the city to waive fees associated with renting equipment for the pond that day. Rental fees for the event would only be about $125 for equipment because we don't charge anything to use the pond, nor do we let any other event use the pond except for the fishing rodeo. This event is free to the community. The Optimus Club uses sponsors to pay for all fishing supplies and food for the day, and staff does recommend waiving the fees in support of this event.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3389.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 3389.
Second.
A motion to approve by Vice Mayor Haynes and a second by Councilmember Cagle. Do we have any discussion? See none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Abstain.
Councilmember Witt. Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3389 passed, approved. We'll move to item C, resolution number 3390.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council to allow the city manager to advertise for bids for sealing the parking lot at City Hall and the community center.
Yeah, I'm looking, at the last time we did the sealing was back in March of 2017, and I'd like to do it again. We're looking at approximately 69,800 square feet. That would be the community center and the city hall, the area around the city hall, and out at the south side of the library. We received a preliminary quote from a contractor, and it appears that the amount of money is going to be over $10,000. That's my threshold, so I'm asking authorization from the city council this time to formally and competitively bid out this work, and then award to the lowest responsible bidder.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3390.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 3390.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do we have any discussion? I'll see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3390 passed, approved. We'll move to item D, resolution number 3391.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council to accept a donation from the East Ridge Chamber Council for East Ridge Animal Services.
Is that you? Yes, sir, Chief Elzelton.
East Ridge Chamber had a business expo last week, and I believe they took donations and wanted to donate it to the East Ridge Animal Shelter. And I apologize, I wasn't planning on coming up, but it was over $500 if I remember.
Right.
$565.50.
That sounds right.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate the impromptu. I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3391.
Motion to approve resolution number 3391.
Second.
A motion to approve by Vice Mayor Haynes and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3391 passed, approved. We'll move to item E, resolution number 3392.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council to enter into an agreement with ASA Engineering and Consulting, Inc. for professional engineering services, and on behalf of the city to file an aquatic resource alteration permit with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation Division of Water Resources regarding property located at 5302 Stone Street.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir, thank you. As you're aware, there's a stream that runs through the animal shelter property about 2/3 of the way from the north part of Stone Street. It is classified as a designated stream by the state and as a tributary to Spring Creek. What does that mean? Basically means we have to do a setback of 60 feet on the north and 60 feet on the south, and we can't touch that area at all. We can mitigate it, and we have, for the purpose of building our facility, to 45 feet north of the creek and 75 feet south of the creek. What I'd like to do is refer to the pictures or the site plans at the rear of this memo. First one you have is present. The second one you have is the proposed. So when you look at the the first one, it says present. Right off of Stone Street, we have parking and then a 4,800 square foot building. But if you look at the rear of that building, that leaves us no dog play area. It leaves us no room for expansion in the future because of that creek, 45 feet north and 75 feet south has to be the buffer area. Turn the page, what we are proposing on this at this time. We have two variances that we have filed applications to the Board of Adjustment, Zoning Board of Adjustment. One of them would reduce the front setback off of Stone Street at the top of the page. It would eliminate those parking spaces and reduce the setback from 25 feet to 10 feet, moving the building further north. Because we lose those parking spaces, we're going to have to get a variance for parking from 16 parking spaces to 9. But look at how it positions the building on this site, knowing that we can't do anything with that stream at this time. This is to build as it is. We do have an area. It's not large, but it's about 3,800 square feet for a dog play area and does allow us limited expansion capabilities in the future. What we are proposing at this time and what the resolution before you for consideration and approval, we would file an ARAP permit with the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation, what we refer to as TDEC. Let's see, that, okay, by doing that, we'd be looking at piping the creek, filling it in, and by doing that, we would have free use of that whole entire 1/3 of the site. That would give us a larger dog play area. That would give us more flexibility in the future to be able to expand our animal control facility to the south. There's some costs involved on that. First cost involved is we need to file the application. That is a 10-month process, and it carries a proposal before us to do the study that we are required to do for the application process with TDEC. That is set at $19,000. ASA Engineering has estimated to put in a double run 48-inch pipe, large junction box, 1,000 cubic yards of fill, and they said permitting costs, but at the time they mentioned that, they weren't so sure what the actual costs were going to be. That comes to about $112,000, but if we were to receive approval on this application and a permit issued for ARAP, then we could proceed with moving forward with that work of piping that stream, filling it over, and allowing expansion and dog play area capabilities in the future. We are set to go before the Board of Adjustment on June 12th. If we get the approvals that evening, then I propose to put this on the City Council meeting for June 22nd for your review of the elevations and the site plan. That site plan is the second one that you're looking at now with the elimination of the parking spaces, the building moved closer to Stone Street, and the loss of 7 parking spaces. Get your approval to move forward on that so we can get this out to bid and get it under construction. The reason I'm bringing up the ARAP at this time, because it's fresh in our mind, it's going to take 10 months, may take more or less time, and it will cost us some dollars for the application process of $19,000. We can decide once we get the permit whether we want to do it or not do it, or whether we want to put it off. But it does give us that ability to utilize the full site that we bought several years ago. That's all I have.
I have a couple things to add, but I may wait till we get to the discussion point. So I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3392.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 3392.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do we have any discussion? Yes, sir.
Okay. The permitting cost is in that $112,000. Is that the same permitting cost that's in the $19,000?
No. No, not all of it. When Jeff Sykes gave me this information about the double 48-inch pipe and large junction box and 1,000 cubic, he put permitting costs. He prepared that and guessed it at $112,000, including the permitting. The proposal was put together by one of their environmental engineers in ASA, and she put down exactly what the costs would be. So in all due honesty, you'd be looking at $112,000 plus $19,000 on top of that.
Well, I just reading permitting there.
I know.
Then I'm reading permitting over here in this 19,000, so.
I know, we had two engineers do it. The first engineer used it as an estimate. The second engineer who did the environmental refined it.
Okay, if we go through and get permission to do this, well then, will there be a necessity into asking for the variances? Then that way we could keep the 6 parking spaces and,
Well, if we do that, what we end up doing is wait at least 10 months, and we may not get the permit from ARAP. We may not get that from TDEC. So I don't know whether the council wants to wait 10 months or more before we get this project under construction. Where we're locating right now is quote-unquote inhumane for animals. It would be definitively
And our employees.
closed down if a person lived in an environment like that.
And the
So-
other thing is, wouldn't we looking maybe at expansion in the future?
That's why I'm putting in, would want to put in for the ARAP. That would give us that ability to utilize more of that site that we bought.
But we have to lose the 6 spaces though.
We have to lose the 6 spaces. And talking to the staff,
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
they don't have a real need to have more than 9 or 10 spaces anyway. And this
Yeah.
would accommodate 3 of their vehicles and then 6 for people coming in and coming and
I
going.
think even with the reduction of the 6, you still got 10 or 11 parking spots. Yes, sir. Because I'm looking here and I'm counting, it looks like there's at least about 10.
I believe we started out with 18 or somewhere in that.
So you got 10 or 12, even with the reduction of the 6, and you're only going to have a couple adopters at one time, scheduled at one time to be there. You're not going to have a dozen people come and adopt. They can't handle that many with their, with the rooms.
Let me basically add too, that if we were to get the ARAP permit, we can, in the play area, we could extend the parking lot further to the south, as
That's
well as increasing the dog park play area all the way down to the end of our property.
And another key thing I want to talk about the ARAP, and I didn't talk about it before, was the motion was, this is the only section of that creek that is exposed. Remember talking about that? So you're having, everything is completely sealed and closed all the way up to you get to this property, and then it's just flooding out and staying. So when this actually is the ARAP and we get it piped and filled over, it will continue the flow as it should have been in the beginning when they originally started that ditch for that creek. So we're doing something to help also in continuing the stormwater runoff, and then not collecting there and flooding in maybe the apartments or something else there. So I think that it's also a benefit by that as well.
It'll also help with mosquitoes and different
That's
things
true.
like that.
Yes. Yes, sir. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so the only thing we can use this part that we're having to go through TDEC through is for animal playground. We can't build on top of it.
No, we can't, yeah, once, if we get the ARAP permit and we pipe that and cover it up, We cannot build a building on top of it. We can build a trail, we can build a parking lot, but we cannot build a structure on top of that stream.
But we could build closer to it, since it's covered.
yes, you
So
can.
we could,
Yeah.
the expansion that we were planning for could be,
Plenty of
could be
room.
constructed further down closer
Back
to
to
it.
where we were. We can build as close to it as we were.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My next question is, y'all see how the drainage ditch is going? Well, if you go straight, it don't take near as many tile.
Well, that's a natural flow. I don't know how T-Deck's gonna be.
I leave that,
That's something for our engineers to work out, you
I
know?
was always taught you don't play around with Mother Nature because they
Well, we're
always come
playing
back
around
and
with
haunt
it by adding the pipes.
you. Yeah, so
Well,
we
we're
wanna
not
play,
diverting the
let's play.
flow, but
that's a good point.
good
Yeah,
point. And, you know, I'm sure T-Deck will have an involvement in
They would,
that discussion. But it's
would.
definitely something we can ask. Anything else, sir?
Oh, I just sitting here gritting my teeth.
Anyone else?
Oh, all my questions got answered.
All right. All right, I see no other questions. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
No,
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, resolution number 3392, pass approved.
I'll
Move-
say something, Mr. Mayor. I'm not against the building of the dog pound, okay? We give $125,000 for this piece of property. Now we're fixing to spend that or more to get it to where we can use it. Because back when we were sold on the piece of property, statements were made that everything they were wanting to put there was, the property was capable to hold it. And there was it also said, plus there is a natural area that suitable for walking the dogs. Of course, that is no fault of theirs. It's our fault for not having someone to do a title search to find out about our problems we've got now. So, but I just hate spending more than we give for the property to begin with to improve 1/3 of that piece of property.
Well, I believe that this will benefit the entire city by popping that. Like I
Oh,
said, that's an
I'm
open
not
area,
doubting that.
so I think that's going to benefit that. Plus, I would remind, if you remember when I mentioned the property, when it was located, we got that at a very good price. So it was well under the value of the property anywhere around it. So we made a big savings there.
No comment.
Recognized. We'll move to resolution number 3393.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council authorizing the city manager or his designee to purchase 5 in-car cameras from Motorola Solutions for the police department.
Chief Usleton.
Mayor, council, we got our 9 new cars, I think I mentioned last council meeting. We had 4 existing cameras to put into those. We are in need of 5 additional. The total cost for the 5 with 5 years of cloud service, which is pretty expensive, also comes with a warranty, and for the first year, it will have tag reader, or they will have tag reader capabilities. Total cost comes out to $51,125 from Motorola Solutions.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3393.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 3393.
Second.
A motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do we have any discussion?
The 1 year of license plate reader capability,
Yes.
is that like a subscription that we're going to have to renew after a year, or?
They're giving us the first year for free with hopes that we will. We're going to, in my mind, we'll evaluate the actual usefulness of it. If we continue, it's an additional $500 per camera per year.
Any others? Did you mention, does it say this money's going to be coming from the drug fund?
I'm sorry, it does come from the drug fund.
Thank you, sir. All right, no other questions. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, resolution number 3393 passed, approved. We'll move to item G, resolution number 3394.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council authorizing the city to accept a donation in the amount of $3,000 from Hamilton County Commissioner Mike Chauncey's discretionary fund to be used for upgrades to the Camp Jordan Nature Trail.
Dawes?
Yes, Mayor and Council. Hamilton County Commissioner Mike Chauncey has approached the city regarding making a donation from the county's discretionary fund. The donation would be in the amount of $3,000, and it would be allocated for upgrades to our nature trail that Norman built before he left. Right now, when you go into the first passage, it's more swamp area, so we can't even get back there and mow or even try to go through with the big machinery. The second passage is more where we could do some of the bigger boulders and put like a walking path over that and then be able to get back and mow. So when he called the other day, I kind of tried to jump on this so we can try to make some improvements to our nature trail.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3394.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 3394.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? I see none. I would say, I asked Commissioner Chauncey if he to be here tonight, and he was able to. I wanted to thank him in person for this donation. So we thank him very much for that. Anything else? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3394 passed, approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item H, presentation of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
Okay,
Miller.
yes, thank you. A little different format this year than you've been used to. I'm back to my format that I've been doing for years. Same one I did back in 16, 17, and 18. We're going to put it up on the screen. So the public watching this on TV can follow along.
So this will be on
This will be.
split, so
yeah,
they'll see
this-
both?
Yeah, no. it's
They'll just
gonna-
go to it?
This is going to go right to the
Okay.
budget message. I'm just going to give you a capsulation of the budget message. It's not here on the, no.
Well, then we just, if they can see it, as long as it shows to the public. We have this in our book. Will this show to the public? Will it be recorded and showing to the public? Okay. So we can just look at it in our book instead of up on the
Okay,
screen.
yeah, the thing is, I don't know what pages we're going to go to, so I don't know how to turn them. Yes. right, we're just gonna continue. You're gonna have to listen to me, follow along. Okay, budget for FY 23-24, June 1st, or I'm sorry, July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. We're looking at revenues totaling $26,091,960. Property taxes bringing in about $7,069,000. Other local taxes, $4.5 million. Licenses and permits, $540. Intergovernmental revenues, $3.1 million. I will say in the governmental revenues, about $825,000 will be generated from Camp Jordan and the community center in the arena. Incremental state sales tax, we broke that out a little bit differently this year. Last year, we brought in $6.8 million on the border region sales tax. This year, we're looking at $9,304,000. And then miscellaneous, and I'll explain that, the breakdown of that a little later. And miscellaneous revenues of $1.4 million gives us $26 million. Turn the page, second page, expenditures. Personnel services, $11,404,000. Operations, $4.1 million. Materials and supplies, $710,000. Capital outlay, $580,000. Debt payments, this is on the capital outlay. We'll see that in the police, in the fire, and in the streets. This is for equipment. That total comes $233,467. Transfers to the other funds debt at $1,167,000. Of that amount, $1.1 million will be paid from the $9.3 million that we have collected under the proposed collection for the border region sales tax. The next one says transfers to other funds. This is border region payments. We expect out of that $9.3 million collected border region sales tax to pay out to 17 businesses that we have development agreements with, about $5,557,000. That gives us a balance of just about $2.2 million. We're looking to transfer that to a capital improvement fund to enhance that fund, and we'll touch base with that. Moving further down on page 2, the proposed all funds budget, and this is only to give you an idea of how much money we're actually dealing with when we're looking at our 9 separate funds that we operate out of, and they're outlined there from 1 to 9. So the total with all funds, less the transfers out, because we don't want to do double count the transfers. It gives us a total budget, all funds, of $47,858,374.
That's on page 3, correct?
That's on page 3. Okay, going down to, let's look at the general operating fund. Let's look at the fund that funds the major portion of our services in the city. Under property taxes, the preliminary assessed valuation that was provided by the Hamilton County Assessor of Property as of August 2022 totaled $529,571. $571,102. We add this valuation to several of the major developments that will fully come online in fiscal year 23-24. We're talking about the Wine and Spirits, Town Place Suites, Twin Peaks Restaurant, Candlewood Suites, TPC Printing, Home 2 Suites, Park Ridge Medical, and 40-plus new residential buildings that we handed out about 41 or 42 certificate of occupancies in the past fiscal year. And primarily these were over in Hummingbird, number 1 off of Frawley Road. We add all that together, that comes out to a preliminary increase of $12.482 million, primarily new construction. So that takes us from $529,000 assessed value to $542,000 assessed value. However, there's a hiccup in this process, and that hiccup is the personal property assessment must be discounted 30% because 2023 is what is classified as a ratio year for Hamilton County. That ratio is based on the value of the home sales increased over the past 2 years. And that ratio is applied to the personal property assessments. So our personal property assessments decreased 11 million. And when you add all that and compute it all, we end up with an assessed valuation of approximately, let's see, just lost my, of $536,230,812.
Page 4.
So in essence, our city tax does grow 1.26%. Going to page 4 at the top, we're looking at what does this mean? General fund, assessed valuation of $536,230,812 times our proposed millage rate, and I'm sticking with that, our proposed millage rate, would generate $6.7 million, and at a 98% collection rate, which we've been following for the past several years, will bring us estimated tax revenue in of $6,569,000. That's the property taxes. Under other revenues, we're looking at increases of $1,085,965. The breakdown of that, you had $500,000 and $166,585 respectively from this local option sales tax and the state sales tax. Those have gone up. And then other projected revenues are in the bottom of page 4. Some of them to basically note is the alcoholic beverage tax. That one came in strong. We only estimated $10,000 because we had no historical data on it. We ended up collecting about $225,000 on that one. So that was a biggie. Building, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permits. We're going to see an increase of at least $56,000 due to significant increase in the building activity within the city. Hotels, restaurants, and predominantly single-family homes and townhouses. We've got half of Hummingbird done. The other half will be about another 70 single-family homes. Then he moves to Hummingbird number 2, which is 72 to 75 townhouses. And we were looking at earlier this evening over at Beulah off of Frawley. We've got a proposal up there to look at another 75 single-family homes on 13 acres. So East Ridge is developing. And of course, we're talking about the hotels, and we're talking about additional restaurants. Our recreation program fees and facility rentals, that's proposing to increase that about $62,000 from last fiscal year to this upcoming fiscal year. Increase in programs, our participation is increasing substantially, and we're also getting involved in more special events and programs. I think if you look at the schedule for events out at Camp Jordan, you'll see that all but 3 weekends are taken with some form of event or program going on out there. Going on to page 5, just to note our general fund balance. Our unassigned fund balance at the end of fiscal year June 30th, that was audited, came out to be $8,958,263. General fund for ending June 30th, 2023, we're anticipating an overage, that's revenues over expenditures, of about $2.5 million. That's unaudited. And if we add that to our existing fund balance from the previous year of June 30th, 2022, it'll give us a total fund balance of about $11.5 million, which is strong. We have to deduct from that the payment we made on the fire truck that we did about 2 weeks ago. $420,431. And then we also needed to pay Hamilton County for emergency medical services for the 2022 year. They had not invoiced us. So they finally invoiced us, and that was $149,000. So that would reduce our fund balance to $10,930,000. So moving from the revenue side to the expenditure side, proposed expenditures for the upcoming fiscal year over the fiscal year today is expected to yield $2.7 million. It's representing an increase of 11.6. However, what is involved in that? We had the bond issue that came into being. We had the ARPA payment of $1.3 million that's been included in here. And we see the substantial increase in the border region that's projected to go from $6.8 million to $9.3 million. That's why you see that big number of $2.7 million. That includes the transfers also. Personnel costs represent about 67% of the general fund, and that is less the transfers. Total personnel count we're looking at for 2023-24 over 22-23 is 150 full-time positions and 26 part-time positions. We're asking for 7 more full-time positions over this present fiscal year of 22-23. And I'll get into that in a second. I'll go into it right now. New personnel, we're looking at 6 firefighter positions. Do you want to say? Give a little background on that. Back in 2018, when I was still here, we were at our existing manpower that we have now with 4 or 5 out of Station 1 and 2 out of Station 2. Since 2018, we have opened over 16 restaurants, 3 entertainment, Topgolf, Red Wolf Soccer Stadium, 4 motels, retail, residential developments, 162 residents and another 90 to 100 to be completed, 55,000 square foot expansion for textile, and a medical facility coming online. That's what has come about since 2018, and we're still at the same staffing for fire station number 2. 2 people responding at our east end, to me, needs some addressing. So we're looking at 6 additional firefighters that would take us from 2 to 4. Back in 2018, we had some development down there, but not what we have today. And we need to address that in regard to fire. We're also looking for 1 additional police officer. That would be a training officer in the police department. We're also looking at 1 additional recreation position to serve as recreational athletic coordinator because our programs are growing and one person just cannot bounce back and forth between the arena and the community center. We're getting that busy. We do have a clerk position in the municipal court that left us, and we have eliminated that position just due to the fact we think that everything could be done with a court clerk, an assistant court clerk, and 2 individuals. So we reduced manpower there from 5 full-time to 4. Salaries, we're looking on proposing a 4% across-the-board increase salary for all employees. The bridge plan, I'm looking at the implementation of the bridge plan to become effective on January 1st, 2024. As far as police officer raises, I'm proposing a $3,000 raise across the board for all police officers to bring us to be commensurate and competitive with other Hamilton County. At the present time, City of East Ridge pays the starting police officer at $45,667. At this point, Saudi Daisy's at $51, more than us. Red Bank's at $49, more than us. Collegedale is at $49.9, more than us, and Hamilton County's at 52.8, more than us. So I'm looking to bring us up so we can be competitive with our sister cities. Salary adjustments in the amount of $28,000, and you have a list of those attached or in the front cover of your notebook. And then under education training, I'm looking at an increase of $21,250 primarily in the police, fire, and animal control due to the hiring of a police officer and firefighters. This is for bunker gear, uniforms, and certification and training for the new officers. And our animal control officers, would like to get them certified. Going through to operational expenses, you have those outlined on page 6 and on page 7. A list of all, these are just some of the increases, the major increases that we've seen. I didn't need to go through all of them. Moving to capital outlay, the cost of capital outlay, we're proposing $580,200. You'll see that on page 8. Following capital outlays proposed: 7 police cruisers, 1 K-9 vehicle for police, a truck salt spreader replacement and guardrail replacement for streets, 1 truck replacement for traffic control, and for general recreation, 1 more replacement bush hog and 1 truck replacement. That's what we're looking at, of $580,200. Our debt service, I touched on that one, the police, fire, and street department. Going to transfer to other funds, that was the amount we looked at in the front part of the budget. This is on page 8. The transfer of $1.4 million from the general fund to the debt service fund. This pays off our debt on the various notes for infrastructure projects. Transfer the $5.5 million from the general fund to the Economic Development Fund or Board of Region Fund. That's to disperse our annual financial incentive payments to the businesses that the city has development agreements with. Again, okay, and then I mentioned a transfer of $2,279,000 from the general fund to the Capital Improvement Fund. These funds are the balance that are left over from the total border region sales tax dollars, which I mentioned is projected to come in at $9.3 million, received from the state of Tennessee, less the payments to the business with the development agreements of $5.5 million, and less the transfer funds to the debt service. That leaves us a balance of $2,279,000 that we're putting in the CIP fund. Now, if by chance the $9.3 million does not come out to be that amount, it comes out less, then we would reduce the amount going into the Capital Improvement Fund. We still have to pay off the businesses because we own those dollars, and we still have to pay our debt service. So we get into special funds right now, just to touch base on these. The State Street Aid Fund, those are monies that comes from the state gas and motor fuel tax, state transportation improvement program grants that we get. Fund balance at the end of this fiscal year, 22-23, is projected at $1.474 million. And we're looking at anticipated revenue for the upcoming year, starting July 1st, of $1.445 million. So that gives us close to $3 million in our state street aid fund. The appropriations we are looking at is street lighting, $225,000, $30,000 for traffic signal repairs. This is for a new traffic cabinet box, signal box. John Ross Road resurfacing and Bryan Road resurfacing, our share. And I put in a healthy amount for street paving and maintenance of $1.7 million. That will expend our dollars under the state street aid fund. Moving to our grant fund, those are grants approved and received by the city from federal, state, and county government entities. We're looking at a total fund there for the upcoming fiscal year, starting July 1st, of $210,000. And we use those dollars for aquatic stream projects, driver safety, police traffic services, and our the bulk of it going for violent crime intervention, which will be going to the police department. Our drug investigation fund is our next fund. Those are funds that we receive from the federal, state grants, seizures, and awards from the court, Department of Justice forfeitures, drug fines, and the sale of confiscated property. We're looking at $67,000 revenues in that, and about $65,000 anticipated to be spent out. Our Economic Development Fund, this is the incremental state sales tax revenues anticipated to return from the state to the city border region that totals $9.3 million. I've mentioned this again. Of that amount, $395,000 will stay in the general fund. $2.279 will be transferred to capital improvement. Thus, the balance of $6.6 million is designated to the Economic Development Fund. So the transfer to the city's Industrial Development Board will be made in the amount of $5.5 million to pay off the financial incentives to the businesses, and then the transfer of $1 million to pay the debt service of our bonded indebtedness, and that does include the $10 million bond issue that the city got involved with in 2022. Solid Waste Management Fund, that's established to account for the fees and expenses associated with garbage and refuse collection. We're looking at a total budget of $1,640,000. That is sufficient to meet all our operating and capital expenses. Our personnel costs of $833,000, landfill fees of $275,000, contract operating expenses of $532,000. I will note that we should be given some thought about increasing the assessment fees. Right now, they're at $12 a month. I'm sorry, $15 a month, or a total of $180 per year. We should look at increasing that fee to 1 to 1.5 cents per month next fiscal year to cover the expenses that we're incurring with recycling. We've got to pay to get rid of recycling now, and those costs are exceeding the dollars that we're bringing in for that. So I'm just thinking right now, not for fiscal year 23-24, but we should consider that for fiscal year 24-25, which would start July 1st of 2024. Our debt service, this is to take care of our bond issues, our notes. The hotel motel tax, looking at collection of $713,000, and that's coming in strong, along with the transfers for the general fund of $1.4 million, was enough to pay our debt service, and I list those in that paragraph, and also too in the back part of your notebook where you have a green tab that says outstanding debt. Each one of those bond issue and notes is elaborated there, and pretty well notes what those monies are going to pay off. Our capital improvements program fund, our anticipated revenue streams include the TDOT multimodal project of $3 million, our 2022 GO bond issue proceeds of $7 million, the $1 million that we anticipate getting from Hamilton County for the North Mac Smith Road construction project, and a transfer in from the general fund border regions of $2.2 million. So that fund is going to have a projected revenue of $13.279 million. Our appropriations that we are looking at for or proposing for 2023-24 are upgrades to various city buildings of $500,000. Ringgold Road multimodal project, $4 million. North Mac Smith reconstruction project, $4.8 million. Resurfacing of city-owned parking lots. I want to start a program on that, $500,000. Construction of animal shelter, $1.6 million. The installation of above-ground fuel tank for public safety vehicles, $125,000. Appropriation to fund the facade grant program for businesses, $50,000. And an undesignated allocation which would almost be a fund balance in the CIP for projects that we want to identify, the council wants to identify during this upcoming fiscal year, or just hang on to the money, of $1,654,000. The next and the last one I have is the American Rescue Plan Fund. This is the $3.1 million that we received in 2021-22 fiscal year, and that has been pretty well used, except for $1 million we carry over till from fiscal year 22-23 to fiscal year 23-24. In the second round, we received 3.1, so we have about $4,142,000 to expend, and we're looking at this for drainage improvements, Ringgold Road, Multi, and North Mac Smith Road widening. You do have on the following page a breakdown of the departmental employees, and you have a summary of the budget by budget. The next tab is the organizational charts for the city, and then lastly we have the outstanding debt. So that is the proposed budget proposed to the city council for your consideration for fiscal year 23-24, July 1st, 23 to June 30th, 24. I should note that this is a financial plan. A budget is a financial plan. It is not a Bible. It can be amended various times during the year, depending on the cash flow coming in. But just want to let you know that. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the presentation and overview. Council, I'm going to ask, how do you would like to proceed? I ask this every year with questions concerning the budget. Do you want to address those directly with Mr. Miller, the city manager, or would you like to have a budget workshop, to have an open session to discuss?
I personally would like to have a week to redo this, because it's hard to understand it all in 10 minutes.
I know.
So,
Okay?
I certainly would agree with that, and my door's open
Yeah.
to review any part of this with you.
Okay?
set up a workshop a week from now, or before the next council meeting, or?
Well, we'd have to then do a call, we'll have to do a call meeting anyway for the workshop, but we won't have another meeting until in 2 weeks, which will be the 25th. So if we decide collectively that you inform Mr. Miller, the city manager, that you want to have a workshop, then we can put something on the books and get it advertised. Yeah, I know. We just need to know if it's the will of the council.
Oh, gotcha.
So, okay. Then just give your feedback to Mr. Miller on questions, and if you want to have a workshop,
Call meeting, the call workshop, the public invited to?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
just like always. All right. I would like to thank everybody. I know there's a lot of work from department heads and staff for all their work, and Mr. Miller for all the work on putting this together. It's a tremendous amount of work, and we appreciate that.
I forgot to mention, I want to thank my staff. They were very instrumental. I want to thank Diane, because we put our heads together an awful lot of hours trying to get the figures to work out. And I do want to thank Janet, because she's the one that put this whole thing together. She got the pages from us, made sure that it all got typed out, that it all got assembled, and put in a nice looking notebook. Thank you.
And the key thing out of this was no property tax increase.
No property tax, it maintains, increases their services.
Correct.
Yes.
And maintains services. All right. The next on the item is a discussion of the tentative agenda for May 25th, 2023. And if you flip to that, you'll see we have no old business, no new business, but I'm sure something will come up.
I'm sure it will.
Council, is there anything else you have, any input, comments? All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Happy Mother's Day, and this meeting is adjourned.